Almost 20 years ago, a sabbatical launched an idea, and that idea launched a movement in support of community agriculture and a connection between farmers and restaurant chefs. So strong that it has changed the way we look at and experience food in the Hudson Valley.
Restaurant Week, will we do some sort of a wrap-up on it in the winter issue?
We don't usually do that. That's always after.
Janet Crenshaw and Jerry Noveski had spent years working in conservation when they decided to take an 8-month sabbatical 20 years ago.
So this was such a good issue.
They applied what they learned in the 35,000 miles they traveled across the country and launched the Valley Table magazine.
We came home inspired by that trip. Along the way on that trip, we found one of the best ways to connect with the rest of the country or to a new area was through the food. And we knew what we had here in the Hudson Valley and worked so long in farmland preservation that we thought we could come back, start a magazine that would promote a connection to where our food is coming from and to celebrate our heritage, our agricultural heritage in particular.
But writing about food was only part of the vision. The other part was a community call to action.
Really, one of the key things about farmland preservation was to keep farms viable by keeping them profitable. And the only way to keep them profitable was to encourage people to get out there and eat local. So we started that almost 20 years ago now. The magazine would tell the story of the farms and the produce and how to deal with it and how to cook with it, and really inspire people to start cooking locally.
Jerry was already experienced in the world of publishing as a writer, photographer, and typographer.
He ran the gamut of every skill that you needed to produce, and he had done a lot of publications. And myself, I went to school for journalism and worked in public relations and marketing, and ultimately worked in fundraising and program development for conservation organizations. So it was where our interest in our skills in communication and our interest in the Hudson Valley and farming and keeping our region alive economically, it all kind of merged into this magazine.
Janet grew up in Newburgh, Jerry in Middletown, so they came back to their Hudson Valley roots with an idea and plenty of stories to tell, thanks to the serenity, beauty, and what is now becoming an agricultural destination of the Hudson Valley.
It's a destination, period. And there's such variety here. I mean, the apple orchards, the wineries, and now there's a great number of restaurants. So put that all together, you have what's becoming and emerging as really a culinary capital in the Northeast.
The secret to the success of this printed magazine in an era that has gone digital can't be pinpointed to just one thing. It's the beauty of the layout, the photographs, its compelling content, and its vision.
Our mission was to connect people to the source of their food, to inspire them to cook locally, eat locally, buy locally. So we tapped into an awareness that was just starting 20 years ago. The farms were mostly headed down to New York City to sell at the green market. Now there are like 75 farmers markets. There used to be, when we started, 15, 18 years ago, there were just a handful of farmers markets. There were just a handful of chefs who were cooking farm to table. There was no local distributor who would distribute local food, pick up from a farm and distribute it. Now, 18 years later, there's been this huge awakening of food as an important part of our economy, as an important part of us socially, and eating local, eating healthful is just so much more in the consciousness.
The Valley Table moved to this location in Beacon just 18 months ago. The Carriage House was a horse and buggy fix-it shop in the 1700s, and the building needed a lot of work.
So this space, which is really warm and beautiful, didn't look like this when you first got it, right?
It looked nothing like this when we first got it. These were all discrete rooms, solid walls here. It was dilapidated and really dark and totally not warm, totally opposite. But the new owners who took it over right before we moved in completely gutted it and renovated it and updated it with a great contemporary, sort of industrial feel. So we opened up the walls and we splashed on some great colored paint. This is our trade color, the red. Nice light coming in.
Really great light coming in, and it fits you comfortably.
Yeah, it does.
The Valley Table employs a handful of full-timers and quite a few freelance writers and photographers. But Jerry's art and photography is the mainstay of the pictures you see. The magazine is a quarterly publication that is enhanced by the digital age, with a website to keep connected to its audience in between the quarterly distribution of the magazine. And its focus is clear.
This is our beat. This is all we write about. This is all we cover, is the food and farm scene of the Hudson Valley. And we cover it from a business angle, from a culinary angle, from a travel and tourism angle. So it is something that has helped promote the Hudson Valley's, development as a culinary capital.
And that led to the ever-popular Restaurant Week.
Which would really just help people connect with the great food that's being produced here in the Hudson Valley and inspire and encourage people to get out and at a lower price during this 2-week period, twice a year, go to a restaurant, and we encourage the restaurants to source their products locally for Restaurant Week, and now 80 to 90% of them are doing that. Those restaurants are reporting back to us a revenue generation of over $10 million during Restaurant Week. So that's a huge measurement of success.
And the staff is working hard behind the scenes to get ready for the fall launch coming November 2nd to November 15th.
We started Restaurant Week in 2006 with 70 restaurants. We now have over 200 restaurants participating. We also started a series of events, dinners where we brought farmers and chefs together to meet each other and held roundtables so that they would start buying from each other. So we wanted to really tap in and build the local economy, help build the local economy, and it seems to be working.
And with an ever-growing population of farmers and farm-to-table consciousness, the challenge as publishers is to figure out a way to fit it all in.
We have a lot of great talent here in the Hudson Valley. We just need a magazine that's about 5 times as thick to get it all.